when I was captain, when we won it, we was on fire and playing so well. It's even more special when you do something like that and you're with your friends and you're winning a big trophy at academy level. And lucky enough, I can say I won it and was captain as well.
Well, Mason, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today. It's going to be really interesting, I think, to get to know a little bit more about you and your journey. But before we go back, let's just talk a little bit about this week, because it's been a bit of a crazy week. How are you and how are you feeling about everything that's kind of gone on and off the pitch?
Yeah, it's been a crazy week, as you said. Something that it doesn't happen very often, that a lot of distraction off the pitch. But our obviously goal and focus is always to try and stay as ready as we can be on the pitch and try and get the best result we can. So I feel like even throughout the whole period, we was trying to be as focused as we can to get a good result and play the best we can. So yeah, but it's been tough.
For you as a player, you've grown up at Chelsea Football Club and you've obviously got a really exciting time ahead of you at Chelsea and with the Euros as well. What was running through your mind as it all unfolded, and how easy was it to kind of put that to one side?
Yeah, I mean, when it's like during the season as well, we've got big games. So sometimes you're looking at stuff, things are coming out and you're reading about it and you're thinking too far ahead when you've got a game coming up the next day. So you're just trying to stay, as I said, as focused as possible and trying to perform the best you can and trying to block everything out that's not happening on the pitch.
Let's talk a little bit more about you then, shall we? Let's go back to the very beginning. What was your childhood like? Tell us what it was like growing up.
Very enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. In Portsmouth, so in a little town in Portsmouth. Just really loving football, really, just doing it all the time on the street, coming home from school. And just trying to play as much football as I can. And yeah, I had a really good upbringing and obviously love going back to Portsmouth and seeing the place as well.
My next question was going to be, what are your earliest memories of football? But it sounds like it's kind of been your whole life since as long as you can remember. There's been some brilliant photos and videos of you that have kind of done the rounds on social media in a Chelsea kit and stuff. Can you remember who you played football with? Was it with your family, your friends, that kind of thing? Yeah,
I remember just coming back from school and I had quite a few different kits and I just chuck one on, go and play in the street, play like, remember Kirby when you used to kick the ball and hit the curve the other side? I used to play that all the time and just with my friends around the street. So yeah, that's probably my earliest memories. I can kind of remember being around the house, kicking the ball around and breaking things here and there, my mum going crazy. But yeah, that's probably my earliest memories that I've got.
You said there about your mum, obviously not always in her good books, but you've spoken in the past about how close you are to your family and how supportive they've been as well. How big a part did they play, particularly in those early years, kind of supporting you and your love for football? Yeah,
they've been one of the biggest parts, and how supportive they've been and continue to be. It really set me up to get where I am now, and I definitely wouldn't be here right now without their support, their drive and their sacrifices that they've done. The travelling all the way up to Chelsea from Portsmouth is a long way. It's not easy after school and everything like that. So they've done all that sacrifice and it's got me to where I am now. So yeah, very, very thankful.
We've all been asked, haven't we? I remember growing up, when I was asked what I wanted to be a pop star. Unfortunately, I couldn't sing. I read a story where a police officer came into your school and asked you what you wanted to be, and you said then you were going to be a footballer. I know so many little boys think and dream of being a footballer, but did you genuinely think you could be then, or was there a point when you realised, hold on, I could make it?
I feel like it was always in my mind. It was nothing else. I was going to do nothing else. It was just straight football, and how everything worked out, the path I went on. It led me to where I am now, so I feel like I never really thought about anything else. And yeah, that story about the police officer when he come in was asking everyone about what they want to do or what they like to do, and yeah, I said I want to be a footballer, and he's like, yeah, everyone wants to be a footballer. So and that always stuck with me. It always was in the back of my head. I always thought of it, I'm going to do it because he didn't think I probably was going to do it. So, yeah, that's a good little story.
You've obviously mentioned there that you grew up in Portsmouth, so many people might be surprised that you didn't actually start your footballing journey at Portsmouth, because obviously they've got a football team there that particularly back then would have been really big. You went to Chelsea at the age of 6. How did that move come about?
I did actually go to Portsmouth. I did some training. I also went to Chelsea, and it was a tough decision for me because obviously being a Portsmouth boy, they're my home club. It's right on my doorstep. I don't have to go anywhere. But then when I went to Chelsea, and it was a challenge. The level of players was much higher, and I really wanted to test myself. And I think that's why I made that decision. And it wasn't an easy one, as I said, but I wanted to go to Chelsea. It was a massive club. The facilities here, unbelievable. So I was just, every time I come up here, I was just wowed. Little kid, just loving playing football, and this was the best place to be.
You were 15 when you eventually made the permanent move from Portsmouth to London. That's a very young age to move away. How difficult was that for you, that period?
Yeah, it was difficult. I feel like it was probably more difficult for my parents that I was moving out. It was more of an exciting time for me. I'm going up, being around the training ground. I'm going full time. It was an absolute dream to be able to do that. So I think my mum probably hit her harder than what it did for me. I think she was very upset when I left that first day. But she got used to it, and I always saw them quite a lot, so it was all right in the end.
You were part of a really successful youth side as well, and captain Chelsea's FA Youth Cup in 2017. How exciting a time was it to be part of the youth setup then?
Yeah, very exciting. It was. We had a very good team. As you know, there's a few of them have come through now, and we were playing together for a long time, so we all know each other. When I was captain, when we won it, yeah, we was on fire and playing so well. I look around, I see Reece and Cal and some of the other boys that I've been friends with and have been very close with from a very young age. So it's even more special when you do something like that and you're with your friends and you're winning a big trophy at academy level, and you speak to some of the older players that have done the same thing, and they first thing they say is, "Oh, the Youth Cup, I remember that. I remember winning that back in the day," and exactly the same with me. It was such a big tournament, such a big trophy to win, and lucky enough I can say I won it and was captain as well.
I know there was maybe a little bit of trepidation amongst your family about whether you would be given the opportunities to make it to Chelsea's first team, given the incredible talents that do come through the academy. Can you share with us your dad's thoughts in particular and what your response was to that?
Yeah, I mean, he always had doubts. When I was coming through, there wasn't many that was breaking in to the first team and being regulars and playing a lot. And obviously from the past, there hasn't been loads. So I mean, he always had doubts that, are you going to go all the way or stuff like that. And my response was always, yeah, I'm gonna. There was that focus and that drive that nothing was going to take me off that goal or me achieving it. So I always said that to him, and I think he was probably umming and ahhing about is it the right thing, but I was so focused, and I said to him, look, I'm going to do it, and a couple of years down the line I make my debut and I'm in the first team. So yeah, it's a good journey, and it's something that we speak about quite often.
You've already had quite a few experiences in football despite being so young. You went out on loan to Vitesse at the age of 18. What was that like? Because not only is it another club, something you've never known before, but another country as well.
Yeah, that was a very good experience for me to go out there and learn, as you said, a new country, different type of football. When I went out there for the first week, my mum come out with me to kind of make me feel a bit more natural to the area, and she looked after me, and then after that she went home, so I was just there on my own. And I think it was brilliant for me to kind of grow up and having to look after myself, which I'd done a little bit, but not to that extent of me living on my own and having to cook for myself and do everything like that. So it was my first experience being in a professional league, professional team, And I learned a lot, and it was a brilliant experience, as I said, to go out there at that young age and grow up. And I feel like when I come back, I was definitely turned into a man.
Yeah, it wasn't all plain sailing, was it? Particularly at the start in terms of getting your chances, but come the end of the season, it must have all felt very worthwhile.
Yeah, it was difficult first couple months. It was probably the only time in my career that I haven't really played for a good couple months, and it was tough for me. I couldn't get my head around it because I've never had that experience. I was like, why am I not playing? Like, I've had it for the whole academy. I've played and go to a team and then I'm not playing, and then it brings out another side of you, that fire in your belly to want to get into the team and show the manager what you can do. And in training every single day, just working my hardest, doing the best I can, and then I get my opportunity. And I scored on my first. I think he brought me on as sub, and then I scored. So just you have to wait for these opportunities sometimes, and when they do come around, you got to take it. And I feel like I did that. And after that, I was kind of introduced into the team a little bit more. And then by the end of the season, the fans voted me for Player of the Season. So it was, yeah, as you said, it was a good end to the season after a tough start.
Of course, you then came back to the UK and there was another loan spell. This one a little bit closer to home in terms of going to Derby. Obviously, Frank Lampard was the manager there then, but why did you feel that was the right club for you to go for the next stage of your development?
Yeah, I think the decision was to go out on loan for 2 seasons, and the first was obviously to Holland to get a different type of experience, and then I wanted to come back to England. I could have easily stayed out there for another year, and it would have been a bit more comfortable for me. I know the area, and I've been out there for a year. I can do another year, but I wanted to go out my comfort zone again and to go to the Championship, which is a very tough league. It's demanding, physical, and it's going to add something different to my game, and I'm going to learn something different. And that was the decision. Go in at the deep end and see how I cope with everything. And yeah, it was, as I said before, brilliant experience. Another year of playing football, playing as many games as I can, and gaining a lot of valuable experience. And obviously to learn under Frank as well, it took me to the next level, and I was learning every day in training and getting better and better. So it was a brilliant year. It didn't end up the way we wanted it to in the playoff final, but yeah, it was brilliant to get there, and I always have that connection, that close connection with the club and fans.
Sorry to bring up the playoffs, because they say, don't they, it's the best way to go up if you do go up that way, but obviously it hurts all the more if you don't. But again, another learning experience for you, I'm sure. But what are your memories of that game and that period, and what you've taken from it?
Yeah, I took a lot from the games leading up to it. I think the Leeds game, that was probably one of the best games I played in, the second leg when we won. It was just how the game went. It was a crazy game. We're away from home. How the first leg went when we lost 1-0. And to go there and win, it was. I learned a lot from that game, and it was just an absolute roller coaster. So yeah, that was special. And then obviously to go to Wembley, to have that half filled out, the stadium full, atmosphere was unbelievable. And yeah, to play in that game, it was. These big games that I haven't really had many of, it really helped me to understand that I need to perform in these big games, or how to prepare for them, and it helped me a lot. So yeah, they're special games that obviously I'm going to remember for a long time. My debut at Stamford Bridge, to score in that quite early on, it was a surreal moment, and yeah, that's definitely a goal that I'm going to remember for a long time, with all my family there.
Were to you, because when you went back to the club, they then offered you a long-term contract. Did you feel ready at that point? Did you think, okay, I'm coming back to Chelsea now, this is my opportunity, I'm ready for this step up to the first team now?
Yeah, I set that 2 years of going away from Chelsea, and then after them 2 years coming back and giving it everything to get into the team and to be a big player, and I feel like I was ready for that. I gained everything that I needed out on loan, 2 brilliant loan spells, and then it set me right up to come back to Chelsea and give it my everything, and try and get into the team and work as hard as I can in training and learn off the players that are in this squad. So it was a great transition for me. World-class players in the team, so it was nothing better for me to kind of work close in training with them and play in the games in pre-season. We played Barca in Japan. That was a game that really stood out to me, and the level of what I needed to get to and that I'm kept working to. It showed me there was more that I could do, and I can learn more and get better. So yeah, it was a brilliant pre-season, and then obviously leading into the season when it started, it was good as well, yeah.
So your Premier League debut came against Manchester United. Obviously not the result you will have wanted there, but then you made your home debut against Leicester. What can you remember from those games, and particularly maybe the first time you walked out at Stamford Bridge as a Chelsea player?
Yeah, that United game, obviously from a little kid, I've always dreamt to play in the Premier League, and to make it at Old Trafford, first game of the season, it could be quite daunting for a young player coming in, but I was so excited to play, excited for the game, and the game didn't go our way, it didn't go to plan, but it was a special day for me and a couple of the other boys to play in such a big game. And then move into the second game where I had my debut at Stamford Bridge, my first start at Stamford Bridge. And to score in that quite early on, it was a surreal moment, and yeah, that's definitely a goal that I'm going to remember for a long time, with all my family there, a lot of the coaches that I've worked with over the years from Chelsea. To do that in front of them, it was a special moment, and yeah, delighted to obviously score as well.
In general, that whole first season for you at Chelsea, it couldn't really have gone much better, could it?
Yeah, it could have. You can always do more, but it went. Yeah, I played a lot of games, scored some goals, and yeah, it was for my first season. Obviously, I was happy with it, but by the end of it, I'm looking at it and thinking, okay, I could do more here. How can I do better to improve my performances week in, week out, and keep that standard so high, which obviously I want to do. So that was something I looked at the end of the season after my first year, and coming into this season, trying to implement that into my game, and really trying to improve, because I feel every season you need to get better and better, because everyone around you is getting better. So yeah, that was always my focus, and I always try to set goals before the start of the season, and I didn't achieve them in my first season, so hopefully I can this season. You
have received some criticism in the past, but your continued incredible form has made a bit of a mockery of any doubters and anyone that says anything negative against you. You are only human though. Do you read any of the criticism? How do you deal with it?
I mean, I think every single player is going to get criticism, especially I feel like this season where there's no fans in the stadiums. People are at home watching the games, and they're on their phone and they're writing things on social media. It's always going to happen, but I feel like for me personally, I don't look into it at all. The most important thing for me is the people close around me and how I'm performing on the pitch, and if that's going well, then I'm in a good place.
We know you've got good people around you. You've talked glowingly of your family, and someone else that we know you talk about a lot, and he talks about you as well. You know what's coming. Declan Rice, he came out in support of you recently on social media and said he doesn't want to hear any more criticism of you. How did you feel when you saw that message? And I imagine, given everything you've been through together, it must be quite nice that you can support each other through what you're both going through in incredible times in your careers.
Yeah, it was just like it's like a best mate just backing me up there. It was
on quite a big scale though. He's backing you up on quite a big.
Yeah.
It's not just in the playground.
I was going to say something, and I was like, I'll just leave him, let him do his thing. He come out and said something. That's all that needs to be said. But yeah, we're just like best mates. It's not like anything else. We've grown up together. I support him, he supports me. That's what it is. We obviously play for different teams, and anytime we do come up against each other, we're going to be fighting to the death and giving everything and want to beat each other. But off the pitch and away from football, we're just best mates and have a laugh and get on so well. So it's yeah, we've both been on different journeys, and it's something that we look back on and say what journeys we've been on and how we've got to this point now. It's to both be playing international football together. Something that we've dreamt of. Well, probably we'd never thought would happen, but dreaming of it to happen, and we achieved it. So it's special.
He's been someone that's been spoken about as a potential England captain. We've seen him captain West Ham this season as well, and of course you've captained Chelsea as well. What does it mean to you when you wear the armband?
The armband is something that I probably never really thought about much. Growing up, I was given it in the Youth Cup and a couple other occasions, but I was never really someone that's like a loud leader, shouting or anything like that. I kind of tried to be someone that led by example on the pitch and helped people around me by me being confident and that kind of going around the team and helping everyone else out to feel comfortable and confident when they're playing. So I think there's different types of leaders, and that's definitely someone that I'm like.
Chelsea's season has kind of been split in two because of Frank Lampard departing midway through, but how much have you enjoyed working with Thomas Tuchel, and what have you learnt from him?
Yeah, I've learnt a lot. It's when a new manager I've never experienced something like that when a new manager comes in halfway through a season, but he's obviously brought different kind of tactics, different look on football, and I think like all the boys we've brought into it, and we've obviously started off very well, strong, and we're in the opportunity to win 2 trophies and hopefully finish as high as we can in the Premier League, and that's always been our goal, and we're fighting for that, and we're very focused on that. So no, it's been brilliant obviously since he's come in, and we're all working so hard to achieve them goals.
Yeah, it could be a very exciting end to the season for Chelsea, and let's not forget you've then got the Euros to look forward to after as well.
Yeah, it's obviously such an honour to represent your country. It's the pinnacle of the game, and when you have a major tournament around the corner, it's always playing on your mind about what the opportunity can be and what we can achieve, and probably always thinking about that. Obviously, you've got to keep your mind on this season and finishing this season with Chelsea. But yeah, England, the Euros has always been on my mind, and it can be a massive summer for us all, and we're so close as a group. We're like family, and we all want to achieve big things, as I said before. We're young, we're hungry. So yeah, it can be a very exciting summer, and looking forward to it, yeah.
You mentioned there being young. It's going to make me feel very old now, but you are only 22, and the stuff you've achieved already is quite remarkable. Do you sometimes have to pinch yourself at how far you have come? Everything
happens so quick, and you don't really have time to even pinch yourself or look back at what's happened. Football's a short career, and the seasons fly by, the years fly by, and you've got to make the most of every season and really enjoy it. And I think that's always something I want to do, and really enjoy the moment that I'm in, not look too far ahead and not look really too far back.
When you do look back though on the end of your career, what would you like to be remembered for, and what would you like to have achieved?
When I'm finished, that would be the chance to look back at everything. But yeah, I mean, as a footballer, I'm definitely someone that wants to win things. Trophies, I think if you win a lot of trophies, you're remembered for that. Being a successful footballer, and that's not just with club, that's with country as well. And I feel like we can do that with the team we have with England, and obviously with the team we have here at Chelsea. We're very strong, and over the next couple of years, that's definitely it's got to be our goals, to really keep pushing and win big things. And yeah, as I said before, hopefully we can achieve that, and we're going to be fighting. And
to be able to keep saying to your dad, "I told you so."
Yeah, that first trophy that I win, I say, yeah, that one's for you. Yeah, after the years of maybe doubting that I was going to get all this way, that was for you, that one. Yeah.
Mason, thank you so much for your time. That was absolutely brilliant.